Well, welcome to another episode of the Grazing Sheep Podcast. I'm your host, Big Tom Perkins, along with Dr. Cameron Meyerly. And today we're joined by Dr. Andrew Weaver of North Carolina State University. Did I get that one right?
You did. You
Okay.
did.
All right. Because last time I said North Carolina and you got all upset. So,
Yeah, the very distinct differences there. We don't wear baby blue.
yeah, see, I don't know anything about that. I don't wear baby blue either, but I don't care for either one of them. So, I have no idea. So, what's your colors then?
Red and white.
Red and
Go
white. All right. Like
Pasture.
International Harvester. I can get on board with that. So you guys spent some time out in the center of the nation sale at Spencer, Iowa.
Yeah, we figured since we had Daniel Henry on here for the last episode talking about Expo, and Andrew and I and a couple of other people were able to join us on our way out to Spencer, Iowa. We do a recap. I know we did that last year, and whether you're able to make it or maybe you just don't have an interest in going, it's always fun to kind of share some of those experiences and what goes on at some of these other venues and sales around the country. So we were fortunate to be asked, and it was kind of an interesting year with uh, the executive director, Rusty Burgett, who we've had on here, talked about NSIP, resigning from that position, and then that position being filled by David Scales. And so I know Rusty's been pretty heavily involved in the educational sessions that have occurred out there in Spencer, Iowa, in combination with the Center of the Nation sale. And so I was excited to be asked to go out there and talk. I know Andrew gave a talk, and Dr. Bowdridge also gave a talk. And so got to talk a little bit about targeted grazing to both consigners and producers from that Midwestern region, and had really good attendance. And what I really appreciated about the educational content and program was there wasn't a main theme, or it wasn't like we sat there all day listening to topics that all kind of went together. They were just these kind of snippets and segments out of a bunch of different areas of sheep production, which made it, I think, really nice because we've got a very diverse group of producers in terms of breed, in terms of production system, and covered a lot of bases, and was just fun to listen to. So
It's almost like a current events, current happenings type theme.
Cool.
You talking about the targeted grazing and the land board, climate smart project, and some of the producer opportunities there, and then some of the feed efficiency stuff that we're doing down at NC State. There's an update on the Wisconsin enterprise budgeting program. Carolyn Ide, the new sheep extension specialist for Wisconsin and Iowa State, did that session. And then Dr. Bowdridge, they're talking about parasites and some of the new developments there. And so I thought it was kind of a cool opportunity that, yeah, like you take a stab in a variety of different areas, and what's kind of the latest and greatest, what's going on, what do we need to remember, and how can we keep up to date and up to speed on what's going on, what's available for producers in the industry.
yeah, it was really good event. And one of the fun things about what I appreciate about going to that sale is just getting to observe a lot of different sheep. And so I'll put Andrew on the spot here in a minute. I'll talk a little bit about some of my just picks of the sale, what was listed there, and I guess visual appraisal, what we really appreciated. And so I had two in mind, and I'll throw a third one in there because it ended up being the high seller, I believe. But the first two rams, and I was really only looking at rams to evaluate. But the first two rams that I think, if there was a favorite of the barn category, especially on the Dorset side of things, Virginia Tech, and I don't remember what lot or ear tag that sheep was. Andrew does, because I think NC State bought that sheep. But that Dorset ram, I've seen the Dorset rams that Virginia Tech has taken out for a number of years, and this might be the best sheep that's gone out there. Now, that is my opinion. But in terms of one that is just full of muscle, moderate framed, and is really reaching out there in terms of EBV profile, that sheep was very intriguing to look at, and sold really, really well. I believe he was the high seller in the Dorsets, and second sheep.
The big numbered sheep was technically the high seller in the Dorsets.
Oh, correct.
So yeah, Virginia Tech had 2 sheep. One sheep was like a 170 carcass plus, which if you're familiar with the Dorset breed, is off the charts elite. There's not very many Dorset sheep out there that have anywhere close to that carcass plus number. Really extreme, big numbered, big indexing type sheep. And that sheep actually sold first. And I believe that sheep sold to Wisconsin. And another high quality sheep. And then we ended up buying the second sheep they sold there that, in my opinion, just, had the genetics and the EBVs that we were looking for, and combine that with some phenotype that I felt like our sheep could use. So I might be biased, but that Dorset was also probably my favorite sheep in the barn. But again, NC State bought that sheep, so
yeah, that one
with a grain of salt.
That one was awfully good. The reason I'm confused is they sold as choice, so they were both in the ring at the same time. I believe the high seller sold for 2,000.
That's correct.
2,000, and then the other Virginia Tech ram sold for 1,900. So right in the same ballpark. And then the other ram that I thought was really fun to look at was an import semen product, I believe from Scotland, that came from Dry Sandy and Matt Bales and that family. Just a really fun, I guess what you'd call an old world style Suffolk, which is a term that you don't really hear that often. Definitely could tell it had that UK influence, and maybe one of the first times I've seen a Suffolk in person that has those long pendulous ears that actually start to tip out or cup up on the ends. And if you look at any like old promotional material and see like some logos of that breed of sheep, just kind of took you back in time. And obviously the reason I appreciated him is he was plenty thick enough. So I mean, just a really stout, big-footed, shapely sheep that was fun to look like, or to look like, it was fun to look at, and probably why he hit so hard is very different from a lot of the other Suffolks that were there. So
yeah, I maybe jump back just a second. For those of you that maybe haven't been to that sale before, we talked about the educational program, and that took place on Friday, and that was a Friday morning, Friday afternoon deal. There was a dinner on Friday night for consigners that were there, and then the sale was Saturday afternoon. Well, I guess it started at 11 Central Time, and so the sheep start moving in on Thursday. Most of the sheep are there by first thing Friday morning, and then obviously sell Saturday, and so you get a chance to kind of look at these sheep over a day or two period. And I wish I had more time to look at the sheep that were there. I got so busy, it felt like, with educational program and side conversations with folks that sometimes the best time to look at sheep was about 9-10 o'clock at night, going through the barn. But the sheep, there's unique sheep. I think there's sheep of, obviously sheep of many different breeds and types within those breeds. And then that sale attracts a diversity of producers and buyers from across the country. I drove from 2 hours from the Atlantic Ocean to be there. And there was a producer there from Utah, There's been producers there in the past from Washington State. And so a sale like that is we sold a sheep to Washington State through that sale last year, and it's one of those opportunities that brings everyone together. There's no way we would sell a sheep necessarily to the other side of the country if it wasn't for a sale like this and an excuse for everyone to come together, and rides coming together where, we can haul sheep 18 hours in one direction, and they can get picked up by someone else and continue on another 18 or 24 hours further west. And so, yeah, I always enjoy going. It's a lot of travel, a lot of time in the truck, but definitely enjoy seeing what sheep show up, and maybe even more so, getting to talk to folks and see people and have conversations that you only get to have once a year.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun
So,
with people.
the conversation.
That's kind of like the only time. That's really the only time you're ever going to get to see these people, for the most part.
It is in person for sure. A lot of the people we might see on a Zoom call or interact with them, I guess, on Facebook or social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, to put a face with the name sometimes is a lot of fun. I know I had a couple people walk up and had no idea who they were, but were our listeners of the podcast, and you just walked up and acted like they had talked to me for forever and known me for forever.
Celebrity status.
And it was fun. And it's like,
Yep.
I really I've enjoyed that. And so yeah, that's, I guess, a open invitation that if you see us, don't be afraid to come up and say something. And I think,
absolutely,
Tom, we probably should have started with this. There is a milestone that has been hit this past week.
Yeah, for the podcast, we hit 100,000 plays,
which is crazy.
Never thought that would happen.
No, I was hoping for maybe 1,000 across a 10-year period, and it's blown up. So, yeah, while we were talking about that, figured we'd mention it. And if you've made it this far into the episode, thank you for being a listener, and we hope you enjoy it. And as always, we'd love to hear some questions and comments and ways that you think we might be able to make it better. But yeah, so that was the rundown of kind of the favorites. I know I mentioned I had a third. In that third ram that would have been my favorite would have been the Texel ram, the one and only Texel ram. And needless to say, he could have used some competition because he sold for
was it 4,000?
I believe either $3,800 or $4,000.
Wow.
And he was the only one. So, I mean,
3,400. I was wrong. 3,400. Yeah, the Texels were the high selling breed. It was a very high quality sheep. It does help when there's only one ram in the breed, and he sells exceptionally well. But the Texels will lead off the sale next year, so that'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and if anybody is looking for a Texel ram, I've got one. We're asking $3,300, and he's a bargain. So, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that sheep, again, another product of some UK genetics on the Texel breed. And if you're familiar with Texels at all, then you're probably familiar with the Portland Prairie farm name, and that's Dr. Charlie Ray, who's managed those sheep for a number of years and has really been dedicated to the selection and propagation of really good commercial production style Texel sheep. And so that one was fun to see. Of course, Andrew and I are in the background saying, oh, if he brings 800 to 1,000, we probably need to throw a bid in there, see if we can drag him back to Ohio. And
we didn't have a chance to do that.
No, he was past $1,000 faster than I. Pick your analogy, because it was that sheep probably flew off the auction block faster than anything else the entire day.
And the two Texel ewe lambs that followed him did the same.
Yeah, and of course those were like, well, they're probably worth, $600-700. They're yearlings. We could breed them this year. So yeah, that didn't happen either. Those sold
23 and 2,500.
Yeah. So also same plug. I've got some Texel ewes available that we're only asking $2,200 for. But yeah, it was those were really good
Very
sheep.
high quality sheep.
Very high quality sheep. I am proud to say, Tom, I only came home. Well, I guess I did come home with 2 rams, and one was a breed that we didn't even have here yet. So,
what was that?
Take a guess.
I'm going to say a Shetland.
Yeah, that was a good guess. Honestly, maybe should have gone that route for the border collies, but we ended up grabbing one of the Katahdin rams that NC State had, who was I think a negative 95 fecal egg count Katahdin ram, and kind of looking at that sheep in the sale, you said, well, if we're in the Midwest and you want parasite resistance, this is kind of your only option. And thought that we'd get into a bidding war, and we were able to get that one bought pretty affordably. The other sheep was actually a polypay, and have not had polypay since we sold the commercial ewes that were in confinement here. So the goal is to run those on top of any of these Dorset ewes that don't settle early in the season, and maybe give them a shot of reproductive improvement. So, and that sheep actually traveled all the way to Iowa from North Carolina to come all the way back to Ohio. So it was kind of fun. I know Scott Wallen had a number of sheep in that sale that were really, really impressive to look at. This is a ram lamb, and I believe the sale weight of that sheep at Spencer was 175 pounds. So just a tick bigger than what some of these other sheep around here are growing like. But yeah, so I behaved myself, and I am not in the doghouse yet, so I suppose there's still time. But yeah, we can.
And I was going to say, in addition to your celebrity status as being a co-host of the Grazing Sheep podcast, we might be the newest models for Tapari.
That is true. A lot of people will ask, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And it's probably more fitting, what would you do for a neon blue Tapari hat? And turns out, public embarrassment is what both Andrew and I will do. So if
who knew that the Tapari lamb tailor would fit me? Yep. And you actually slide down there pretty quick. But it kind of hurts your hips, but I'm not shaped quite the same as a lamb.
I know Bowdridge
get on it.
Bowdridge got some good promotional footage, promotional pictures of Andrew up in that lamb processor with myself dosing him with the automated drench gun, and that ended up on Facebook somewhere. So if you haven't seen it, go find it. It's pretty good promotional shot.
There you go. I wondered how you got those hats.
Yes. Yeah, the best part, probably the highlight from a personal standpoint, is on the back in this printed font. It says, "This is Tapari country."
Yep.
And so I kept trying to say it in a New Zealand, Australian type accent. And it was the whole time, the whole trip. Every time I saw someone in a hat, I said, "This is Tapari country." So it was pretty good.
Yeah, Tom, you talked a few episodes ago about the women of Ag walking around these sales together, snapping their fingers.
Yeah,
you should have seen us at Spencer, the 5 of us walking around with our neon blue Tapari hats. It was quite the scene.
You gotta watch where you go because you got the Tapari gang about.
If we got you a hat, you could sell the stuff to the Australians and probably the Kiwis as well. That was as good of an accent as I've heard.
Oh, I think I could do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Oh man. Oh man. You could be slinging advantage feeders and Tapari equipment.
There you go. There you go. Man of many hats.
Yeah.
So gonna have to get a hold of Baldridge and tell him to get me a hat sent here to Farmville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, he'd probably get that unit up there, do some demo, maybe even for the well, we're talking promotional things, the FAMACHA training
Yeah,
that's happening in Fombell, PA.
Yep, September 10th, I believe. And if you go on if you go on my page or the Grazing Sheep podcast page, it's on there, so you can sign up, get yourself FAMACHA trained. You know when to worm, when not to worm. I think it's a good thing. I'm just talking to a guy from Columbus, Ohio. He's going to come out.
Tell him to save himself 3.5 hours and just swing by here.
You'll train him?
Yeah, no, I would train him. I was going to ask the main question. I saw the flyer. Will you have Dorpers available to FAMACHA?
Yes, but they'll look like Katahdins.
Okay. Okay.
We're gonna paint their heads black.
Black, yeah. Yeah. That was making me chuckle a little bit on the flyer. Beautiful flyer, very well done.
Yep.
Shout out to the Penn State extension crew for putting that together.
Mhm.
But two things that I saw on there that I thought, well, Tom doesn't have black-headed Dorpers.
Nope.
And that field looks pretty overgrazed for Big Tom Perkins.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to it. We were just kind of rushing around, and I was like, "You better get me sent some flyers so I can take these around and get them hung up." And then this morning, I was like, "Oh, I haven't really advertised that anywhere on social media." So I just hurried up and had to switch it over to a JPEG because I couldn't do a PDF for some reason, and got it all sent out and said, "Well, at least that's done." But I just looked over the information real quick, made sure everything was all right, and I sent that out. But we'll have to.
No, it's very well done.
Yep, we'll have to paint some sheep so that they'll match, and then I don't know if I can bring myself to overgraze the field. So
No, no. And you might have to dose them with some larvae so you actually have some bad FAMACHAs to look at.
well, I do have those Suffolk crosses. I'm kind of thinking maybe one of those would suffice.
At
But I
some
know when I
point,
took my training, the sheep that they had there, they were all fine. They were all number ones. So we didn't even get to find anything that was bad, but I bet if I look around, I can find something.
find something for them. At least some lower body condition scores.
Oh yeah. Well, I got a couple old ewes I thought about bringing down just because they're going to be really bad body condition scores.
Perfect. Well, we can run through some of the averages from Spencer.
Yep.
And what those breeds did in relation to pricing and
Yeah, so as we kind of go over, we talked about our favorites, but if we kind of look through the sale as a whole, we obviously we mentioned already the Texel as the high seller there. The Texel breed, both the Ram and the 2U sold extremely well. Behind the Texels, there was actually one Sam, a South African meat merino, that sold well. Again, it was just a single lot breed, but a very high quality individual there. And I actually got the opportunity to talk that one on the block, which was pretty fun. A very, very unique breed, kind of a cool opportunity for the folks that are able to raise those. And
yeah, I kind of forgot about that one. That would probably be
that was a cool sheep.
That one would have made my top 4. Because that one is, you're not going to see them.
You talk about fine wool sheep that actually have some substance and mass to them, and they're intriguing, very intriguing. So that one would have followed there. In terms of if we want to rank them by breed sale averages. After that, we have the polypace. Polypace, lots of polypace there. Big sale. The top end sold extremely well. And so that breed also averaged over 1,000 a head for the poly pay rams. And I'm just referencing rams here. Let's see. After the poly pays, we have the Suffolk rams. So and also keep in mind with this, the breeds are ranked and sell in the order of high to lowest selling in the next sale. So next year, the order that we're listing these breeds in, that will be the order that they sell in next year. So the Suffolks there sold as the next highest selling average. That was followed by the Dorsets. And then we have the Hampshires after that, and the Katahdins. And so overall, very good sale. The overall average is 102 rams sold and averaged 1,005. So very good. If you think about, over 100 sheep selling and that kind of average, lots of positive positive numbers for the industry, I'd say. I'm blanking on the words here. It's best describe it, but certainly reason for optimism.
And I think one of the
things for the industry.
One of the things that I get excited about, I think it's specific to Spencer, and it would be my hope for a lot of our what we would classify as seed stock type ram sales, and they do a really nice job at getting sheep that have numbers, that have a lot of value from a known genetic potential standpoint, and they put them in a place and put them into commercial producers' flocks. Those commercial producers show up, purchase those rams, and are consumers of NSIP and consumers of EBVs. And so I think that's something that we need more of, and it's kind of special again to that center of the nation sale. And
every sheep has EBVs. Every flock that markets animals, they're enrolled in NSIP, and you get a nice mix of there are other NSIP producers there buying rams, kind of seed stock to seed stock type sales, but there's also a lot of commercial producers that have gained an interest in this sale and attend the sale on a semi-regular basis, and will purchase animals knowing that they're a commercial flock, but they know the value that these NSIP rams provide, and they can go in and buy with confidence and get the traits that they're looking for to improve their commercial flock. So it really brings together everybody from all over the country.
That's a good.
I'll also just mention too, we going into Spencer, there was I don't know if any of you had heard, there was terrible flooding in the city of Spencer just about a month prior to the sale. And if you a quick Google search on flooding in Spencer, and some of the videos are pretty wild, driving boats through town where I'm used to driving. And I was incredibly impressed at the town's ability to kind of resolve and come back and bounce back. A lot of the businesses were open. I didn't think really any of the restaurants downtown would be open, and they were open. They rebuilt pretty quick, but you could still see a lot of damage. And our thoughts are continued to be with the folks that live there and have had to go through that. A lot of businesses, especially south of the river, they're still looked in really rough shape, boarded up, lots of damage, and it'll be a long time before it's completely back to normal. But I was impressed at how much progress they had made in just that time.
Yeah.
Our favorite sand volleyball court that we always play our annual volleyball game in was destroyed and
washed away.
Yeah. I think the net was still there, but it was full of debris. So we were not able to break bowdridge in our annual volleyball match. But hopefully next year.
Yeah. Well, he'd have used the debris to his advantage, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It must be pretty high water to get up to the volleyball net.
Oh, Tom, I tell you, it was, you drive out of the fairgrounds, they still had the FEMA camper like the FEMA disaster relief booth.
They were based out of the fairgrounds.
Based out of the fairgrounds. You drive out of the end of the fairgrounds, and everybody's appliances and gutted house material was piled up. I don't even.
The craziest. It was the biggest pile of.
It looked
stuff.
Pick the biggest scrapyard you can think of in your area, and maybe double it. I don't know how big a scrapyards you have, but it was. I mean, it was massive, and you just. I don't know when some place like that is, like Spencer specifically, is flooded that badly before, but they were not expecting it. So it was crazy to see.
Yeah, we had a massive flood here probably 15 years ago, maybe more. And everything smelled like a swamp for a month and a half. It says everybody was trying to get everything cleaned out and cleaned up, and it was a mess. I know my mailbox just got an inch of water in it. That was it. It took me 45 It took me 45 minutes to clean the slime out of the mailbox. And all I kept thinking was people's houses, their entire first floor was covered in this stuff. How in the world do you get that all cleaned out? The flood's no joke.
Yeah, there were a number. I think there were only 2 hotels not affected by the flooding, and we were very fortunate that we booked our hotel rooms a long time ago, well in advance, and we were fortunate to have a room there at one of those hotels. But there were a lot of buyers and consigners that had to travel a substantial distance, I should say, to get back and forth to the sale. So commend the town for what they've done, and their fight and getting through all that, and everyone that was there in Spencer for the sale, and their willingness to put up with abnormal circumstances to still be there and consign sheep and buy sheep and make that sale a success.
Well, that's good. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And so we're running up on our time here. Glad you guys had a good time. I'm kind of disappointed Cam didn't buy any Shetlands this time.
Well, they'd have to be there, Tom. I might take a stab at
it. I'll look around and see if I can find you a nice one.
Great.
What color do you want?
Do we have an EVV for that?
Oh, yeah. For color. Oh, yeah. It's a smiley face. It's clear. It's way at the end. You very rarely ever move over to the right. So, we thank you for listening to another episode of the Grazing Sheep Podcast. If you want to get a hold of me with questions, comments, you can do so at bigtomperkins@gmail.com. There's a Facebook page. There's a YouTube channel. I spent the weekend loading up a whole bunch more videos there, so you can go check those out. And at this point, I'm only about 1 year behind, so I'm catching up.
Perfect.
It's slow going, but I'm catching up. So, well, it's good talking to you guys, and I see it's now gotten dark where you're at.
I just looked at our screen and noticed that as well, so that's fun.
Yep. So we'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, Tom.
Good talking to you, Tom.
Yep. All right. Bye.